Good afternoon, guys. MG here, MG Covers, bringing you another brand new handicapping video. We're going to dive back into live betting. This is going to be part two. Titled this is Simple but Profitable Sports Betting Strategy for NHL Live Betting. If you haven't watched the first video, I might want to go back and check that out. You don't really have to. It's not like you have to see the first one in order to understand the second one. But there's an order to them. The first one we did was on NFL. We're going to take a different approach and dive into NHL. And some of these concepts I'm showing you, you can apply to other sports as well once you understand basic concept of how the live betting scenario works. Okay. Just to kind of review this real quick, understanding live betting. In essence, what live betting is, you're placing wagers during a live game. Odds change as a result of events occurring during the game. So a team might be a favorite. They're losing 0-2, then they become the dog, et cetera, et cetera. And one thing I forgot to mention in the last video, somebody that might fit the profile that would be a good candidate for live betting. For me personally, it's something that I do not do. I'm more old school. And one of the reasons is because it's you would have to actually sit in front of a computer during a game. However, if you're somebody that works a normal job, 9 to 5, maybe you don't have access to, you have the, some of these wagering sites that are blocked, and you just can't do it at your regular job, or you can't put in plays during work. You don't have access to a phone. They have that blocked. You don't, et cetera, et cetera. So what you could do is this live betting is really a good option for that scenario, because what I'm getting ready to show you is something where you could, if you look to play a favorite and the line wasn't favorable, you can wait until they become a dog during live betting. So that's what we're going to do. The strategy is very simple. We're going to play a heavy favorite using live betting. And the strategy is, instead of laying heavy juice on a favorite before the game, we will wait and hope that the favorite is losing the game early and then play them as a dog. Okay, and the game we're going to look at, this was from last night, which would have been November the 12th, 2019, Columbus, Montreal. Montreal, you can see, was the favorite there, getting anywhere from minus 174 all the way up to minus 182 at some different books. Columbus was the dog at plus 164 to plus 158. Now, of course, we could do the strategy that we talked about in the first video, where you're playing the dog first, and then hopefully they will lead the game, and then that makes the favorite now the dog. Am I saying that right? Yeah. But in this particular strategy, if you look at our power rankings, we had Montreal as a big favorite in this game. I think it was about a 16-point differential between the two teams. So we had Montreal's winning this game convincingly. So here is the strategy that we would take on, and here's how we would do it. Okay. During the actual game, if the favorite, in this case Montreal, becomes a dog, we play them on the money line. So what we're looking for is Columbus to go up early. If they go up early and they get a goal, more times than not, that will make Montreal the underdog. And then, of course, that would give us huge value, because we're already predicting them via our power rankings as the winner of the game. If Montreal takes the lead, we could also play Columbus on the money line if they are a dog, and we have a perfect 100% hedge and guaranteed profit. What I mean by that is, let's say you play Montreal as the dog, and then Columbus goes up. We play Montreal on the money line as a dog, and then for whatever reason, then we could also play. No, wait a minute. Back up. Let me say that again. I'm confusing myself. Okay. So we play Montreal as an underdog. Columbus takes the lead. Well, let's say now Montreal takes the lead in the game. Maybe in the second period, we could turn around and play Columbus on the money line, and we have basically two bets on the dog line. Maybe one team's plus 120, the other team is plus 130. So either way, we would have a perfect 100% hedge and guaranteed profit. Now, I'm going to show you an example where we don't do that and show you what actually went down during the game. Okay. Perfect scenario, what we're looking for. The Columbus Blue Jackets scored first in this game. Scored in the first period, so they took the lead 1-0. So the start of the second period, Montreal was down 1-0. If you scroll all the way down where it says money line, boom, there it is, plus 120. So remember, back up to the beginning of the game, if we would have played Montreal before the game started, we'd have had to lay minus 174. Where now we have 2 whole periods to come back and win the game. And again, based on our power rankings, we believe Montreal will do that. They are the better team. So we play Montreal plus 120. And of course, Montreal does come back and win, and they win the game. So that's a very, very good strategy. This happens a lot. One other thing you can consider too, if you have a huge favorite, let's say before their game they're at minus 200, and this same scenario occurs where they go down early, and maybe they don't go to a complete money line dog line. Maybe they're at like minus 115, minus 120. That could be a scenario where you feel confident enough that they would still be able to come back and win, and you'd have to make the decision if you thought that was a good play or not. And again, if you have our power rankings, we'll talk about it a little bit later, you'll be able to see, hey, if this team's good enough to come back, what's our projection for the score, what's our actual line, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a really great way to offset the juice by waiting, watching the game, via live betting and seeing if the team goes down. Now, you say, well, what happens if Montreal never is winning the whole game? Say Montreal scores 2 in the first period and they, end up winning the game 5-2. Well, you just wouldn't wager it at that point, because the minute Montreal scores, they're going to be they will go up to, I don't know, maybe 180, 190, who knows. So it would just simply be a no play at that point. Now, one other strategy I'm going to show you, this actually happened last night, and there's a little bit more risk involved in this in live betting, but the payoff is huge. And the strategy is playing a good team to make a huge comeback. Now, you would only want to play this on a team that has a very high power ranking, a very good offense. And this would be, again, the same concept you could apply to football. You could apply it to, baseball. The only thing I would caution is make sure, if you're going to do this, that the team has a significant amount of time to come back. Okay, so power rankings for 11-12 in this particular game was Florida Panthers were 112 power ranking. Boston Bruins were 120. So these teams were fairly close, fairly even. Both these teams are really good this year in NHL. And the way we assess that, the power rankings, Boston a little bit of a slight favorite, but still Florida's a really good team. The max on our power rankings is 120. So if a team's 120 on a power ranking, that means they're a really good team. That's the most points that we, the highest power ranking we have. So again, Florida not far behind at 112. Now, if you look at the game, what happened during the second period, Boston went up 2-0. Okay, now look over here at the money line. The Panthers at that point, you saw what happened when a team was down 1 goal. Now look what happens when a team goes down 2 goals. They were down plus 650. And I'll throw in another tip here. If you're new to this business, or you just want to get better and you want to understand how line making works, if you go into whatever sports book you use, if they have live betting, and just watch a game, this screen will change here. This screen right here will change as goals are scored. You will learn so much about line making, what 1 goal is worth, what 2 goals are worth, what happens if a team's down late and needs a score. I mean, you could do it for any sport. It is an education, and you will really, really, really get a better feel of how lines are made. So in this example here, Boston, again, was the favorite beginning of the game, and now they're 2 goals up in the second period. So Panthers were at plus 650. Now, again, there's a little bit more risk involved because it is more difficult to come back down 2 goals. I would say in soccer, this would be a no-go. I would not do this at all. But again, you see this a lot in football too. You could transfer this concept to football. Let's say a team was down 14-0 in the first quarter, and the team that was down was, say, the New England Patriots. New Orleans Saints, a really good offensive team that had the ability to come back. That would be another strategy. I'm not saying they would be a plus 650, but they would definitely be underdogs at that point. Okay, so in this particular scenario, I'm going to give you 2 options of something you could do. One thing you could do is you could wager very small. You could wager 50. Again, I base everything on all these live betting videos on a $100 player, meaning $100 a unit. So you could bet literally less than 1/5 of a unit, $15.50, and win 100 if Panthers win, if the Florida Panthers were to come back. So that's a strategy where it's very little risk and huge upside. So you'd only wager $15. If they won, you'd win 100. Or you could simply wager a full unit of 100, and if the Panthers were to come back, you would win 650. Again, a little bit more risk involved because it is difficult for a team to come back down 2-0. But like I say, scoring is up in NHL, and especially this would be a really good strategy if this would happen in the first period, where a team, or in NFL it happens in the first quarter. It gives that good team that has a good offense a chance to come back, especially if we're projecting that team to be the better team and win the game. In this example, hey, Florida came back and won it 6-5. So if you would have wagered live bet at this point right here, then you would have won it. You'd have won it either, whatever you were wagering. And I will tell you a word of caution when you're live betting. I mentioned this in the other video. You need to have a game plan going in, which you would write down all the scenarios. So you would probably do the same thing for Boston. So you would think to yourself, okay, if either team becomes a huge dog and it's still in the second period, I'm going to play that team. Excuse me, I'm going to play that team to win on the money line. And you need to make decisions pretty quick when you're live betting, because all of these lines here will change pretty quickly. They generally don't stay the same. I doubt this one wouldn't stay 650 for long. And then, of course, if it goes to the third period and they were down 2-0, this line would go up. But again, the chances of them coming back in the third period down to 2 goals is very unlikely. So you have to have your ducks in a row when you do this. So you want to have a game plan, so to speak, in live betting. Just like that previous example with Montreal, you would have to write down, okay, what line will I play Montreal at? Will I play it at -110, or do I want to have dog money? I want to make sure it's at +120, because again, during live betting, you don't have a lot of time to think about it before the odds change. So anyway, if you got questions about that, shoot me a DM on Instagram, MG Covers spelled with a Z, or you can send me an email, mg@mgcovers.com. And again, don't forget, we have our special that we're continuing. We're going to keep this all picks, all sports, $199. That gives you 6 months of everything. You get all picks for all sports, power rankings, including with the power rankings, you get coaching videos. So if you want a live bet, but you want to have the correct information of which team is the favorite, you have access to power rankings, and you can do that. Now, if you just want the coaching program, that's $29.95 a month. We just uploaded a brand new video for coaching today. So there's a lot of good content on that. And basically, you can learn this entire business from A to Z. So you'll have access to all of the power rankings for all sports. And that means you can look at a game, whether it's in the NHL, whether it's in Major League Baseball, NFL, and you'll be able to see the line that we have, compare that against a sportsbook line, see if there's value. And you can access our coaching section, which has videos in there that will tell you how to handicap using our stat model and using situational angles. And of course, you get unlimited email support from yours truly. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Good luck with the live betting. Again, we'll probably do another third video, maybe a fourth video, and then again, maybe do a live video of me actually doing this. If you like this video, I greatly appreciate the like, subscribe. Check us out on our website, mgcovers.com. If you want to join, there should be links in the description box to do that. Hope everybody has a profitable day, and good luck if you decide to live bet.